Welcome to the Minutes to Win It podcast. I'm Jason Gilbo at jgilbo11. With me is Nick Rodriguez at nrodriguezdfs. Breaking down tonight's big slate right before the All-Star break, and we got ourselves a good one, a nice full slate with what looks to be pretty much every game's in play tonight, with a couple of blowout concerns. Obviously, Golden State, Cleveland, they're both favored heavily. Golden State by 16.5 points, Cleveland by 15.5. Are you staying away from those games tonight altogether?
Yeah, I'm definitely staying away from those games. I love the matchups the Cleveland guys have against the Lakers, but that total over-under is scaring me, so I'm probably fading that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it's, double-digit spread there, and obviously Cleveland at home. I love Kyrie Irving's price tag tonight. I think he may be the only one who's in play for me. I don't see myself paying up for LeBron or Kevin Love, but I think Kyrie, just against the Lakers, it's always that matchup. I think he would be the only one in play for me there.
Yeah, I'm right with you there. Kyrie's price is 7,700, and I think he can hit value even if he only plays three quarters.
Yeah, definitely. Look at some other high-scoring games. If you're looking at Philly and Sacramento, 218, Houston and Portland, 214, Boston and the Los Angeles Clippers at 210. I think those three games are really my favorite games of the night.
Yeah, those games are really attractive to me, especially the Philly and Sacramento game, as well as the Houston and Portland game.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to go lower, I mean, Detroit, Denver, a nice 209 total. Obviously, Toronto and Minnesota, 206. Bulls, Atlanta, 204. So, I mean, a lot of games are in play tonight.
Yes, I even like Memphis and Brooklyn. We noticed they have an under 200 point total, but I think there's a lot of value in that game, and you never know, it can go into overtime.
Yeah, that would just be the night tonight, would be that game going in OT, especially getting exposure against that bad Brooklyn defense.
Yeah, I'm right with you there.
Looking at point guards tonight, and there's not a lot of injury news. Really just one kind of new one, which is Tony Parker. He's questionable tonight with a leg issue, and it's not a tough matchup for the Spurs. So you kind of maybe anticipate him sitting one game, getting the extra day off before going into the playoffs here. But if he was to sit, Patty Mills would just be a viable punt option. I think more so on DK, just because it's hard to really punt tonight with a loaded point guard spot.
Yeah, Patty Mills, I think, allows you, he's under $4,000. He allows you to pay up for a guy like Boogie if you're looking at him. Maybe if you want a GPP play and want LeBron, he's gonna allow you to pay up for some high price studs.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going with that stars and scrubs approach, I mean, Mills is definitely in play for me, especially with all the high-end options that are on tonight's slate. But if you're looking at mid-tier guys, I mean, Curry's kind of off the table for me tonight, coming off a big game against Houston, but I don't see Phoenix keeping it close tonight. I don't see him really reaching that value you need for paying $11K.
Yeah, I don't think he plays a full four quarters for $11,000. I'm staying away from him as well.
Yeah, and I know a guy you're on, me as well, as Damian Lillard, priced cheaper. Obviously, the next price guy tonight, in a great spot against Houston, and you mentioned it in your article that you wrote for us today. Pat Beverly's just not the guy he used to be defensively, and with Lillard's usage in this matchup at home, he's kind of your easy number one tonight.
Yeah, definitely a fun game to watch. I'm gonna enjoy watching Lillard and Harden go at it. But I think Lillard's a great play, especially for 9,200.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like pairing both those guys up and then watching them just rack up fantasy points against each other at the end of the night. I mean, that's kind of it. That's what I'm hoping for. I think that's a GPP strategy for me, just hoping for that huge upside from both of them.
Yeah, definitely. Just grab the bucket of popcorn and watch those two guys play.
Look at some cheaper guys in that mid-range. We talked about Irving. I love Rondo and Ish Smith both tonight. I think Rondo's actually going to be the more GPP play just because of his price being a little bit higher. But I think both are in play. Both have been bad defensively. Ish Smith really has a better matchup, but I mean, obviously we've seen Rondo dish out double-digit assists over the last 4 games, so both are in great spots tonight.
Yeah, those are the two guys I also love. Another guy to mention is Derrick Rose. We know Butler's going to be out the next couple of weeks, so he's going to see his usage rate go through the roof. Not the ideal matchup against Atlanta, but I would definitely use him in a couple lineups, especially for $7,000 and that usage rate.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, it's not an ideal matchup, but obviously his usage is going to go through the roof, and price considered, I just think he's such an easy plug and play tonight.
Exactly.
If you're looking cheaper, I mean, with the Minnesota guys out, there's no Kevin Martin. You're still going to see Zach LaVine, and Minnesota has an oddly high total tonight against Toronto. But I mean, a guy like Zach LaVine, we've seen him throw big upside, especially if he's getting 30 minutes. Definitely just a GPP play for me, but um, he's kind of in play at a cheaper price tag.
Yeah, I'm right with you there. Tournament play only, definitely not using them cash. And speaking about the Minnesota game, completely forgot about Kyle Lowry. He's another guy I like for 8,500.
Yeah, definitely. I think just like we kind of slipped over him. I mean, I think that should be actually like how a lot of guys slip over him tonight. There's just so many point guards to deal with. They're all going to get lost. And I mean, if you look at what he's done the last three games, I mean, 25, 30, and 26 real points, dished out 7, 8, and 4 assists. So great matchup against Minnesota. Should dominate Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, beautiful matchup. A lot of people are going to slip away from him. They're going to right away go to Rajon Rondo. So I think he's one heck of a tournament play today.
Yeah, definitely. If you're looking for your lower own play, Lowry's definitely the guy. Looking at the Utah Jazz, I mean, kind of value at point guard is not good tonight. If you're looking at the Jazz guards, we saw last night Raul Neto become in play, but with Trey Burke but only played 18 minutes, got into some foul trouble. No need to pay for him on tonight's slate. You could just drop down to Patty Mills if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm not touching Neto. He's not a great player. He's still young. New Orleans, it's a good matchup, but like you mentioned, Patty Mills could be the better punt play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, kind of even if Parker plays, Mills is still playing, right around the 20, 22-minute mark and a better fantasy producer.
Especially with the blowout potential.
Yeah. Anyone else you're looking at tonight?
No, that's pretty much it. Those are all the guys I like tonight.
Yeah. Moving over to shooting guard. As we mentioned, Jimmy Butler going to be out for the next few weeks. You're going to see Derrick Rose and his usage already taking a bump. Pau Gasol's as well. Tyreek Evans out as well, but it was Bryce DeJean-Jones, but I mean, coming off a 20 and then 12-minute game, he's obviously not in play for me anymore.
Yeah, I'm staying away from him as well.
I mean, I think it's a tough matchup for those New Orleans guards, but Drew Holiday, Norris Cole, still just with their usage and how much minutes they're going to get with a dwindled backcourt. I mean, still kind of in play, but I think just more tournament plays, if anything.
Exactly. Are there any high-priced guys you like tonight?
I think Harden's the guy. I mean, if I'm paying up, it's definitely going to be for Harden. And I mean, obviously, people are worried about Harden with Dwight Howard back in his ceiling, but I think he's kind of shut them up with going 61 and 52 DK points in the last two games, and one of those coming against Portland, where he even turned the ball over 10 times and scored over 50 points.
Exactly, especially with that over/under. I think he's a great play for under 11 grand.
Yeah, I mean, there's really just a lot of value on tonight's slate to really fit Harden in and feel comfortable about your lineups. Do you see anyone, like if you're paying up over maybe 6K, do you see anyone in that range you prefer maybe coming off a Harden for?
If I'm not paying up for Harden, I definitely like CJ McCollum. He had 36 fantasy points last time he faced Houston. He played 40 minutes, and he's a great guard. I really like seeing him play with Lillard, and I think he's going to have it his way tonight, especially with Harden not being the best of defenders.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you there. I think he's a great play, great cash game guy because you can make a nice, well-balanced lineup, and he's always just kind of flirting with that 30, 35 fantasy point range night in and night out. I mean, he's averaging, 21 real points in the last 5 games and shooting the ball 46% from the field. So I'm definitely with you there. I like McCollum. One guy I'm kind of intrigued with tonight is Klay Thompson, and I know the blowout factor is there, but I mean, a game against Phoenix, he's averaged 29 points in 2 games, and he shot 63% in those 2 games. So I'm kind of intrigued with Klay Thompson if I want to get some Warriors exposure.
I would definitely say tournament play only, but he could be that guy that gets hot for Golden State, and he's done it before.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the risk is there that he only plays 3 quarters, and it's probably the likely case tonight, but we've seen him go off and put 20, 25 real points off in 1 quarter and just get extremely hot from 3.
Exactly. One other guy I actually like for you mentioned over 6K is Andrew Wiggins.
Mm-hmm.
The matchup isn't ideal against Toronto, but we all know he's from Canada and playing against his hometown team could add a little chip on his shoulder. And he tends to play better when it's a tough matchup for some reason.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned it because he really does. And I mean, kind of against Cleveland. I mean, we've had that narrative this season, and he's gone off against them, and he gets up for these big games. So I like the narrative call right there.
Definitely. He's a guy on my radar tonight.
If you're going a little bit cheaper, we mentioned Jimmy Butler being out, so that means Etwan Moore stepping in. A great value play on FanDuel. His price extremely bumped up on DK, where he's 5,600 now. Still in play for me, but I think there are some lower options. I don't think he's a must play for a value tonight, but has seen big minutes 32, 38, 31, and 38 in the last four. Going to see some Kyle Korver, some Bazemore. So it's an ideal matchup. It's not great, but it's not bad either.
Yeah, definitely FanDuel must start. DraftKings think about it twice, but
Yeah.
he's been producing for 5,600 as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, he definitely has. I mean, he's continuing to hit that value. I mean, the only game he really struggled was when Butler did get hurt against Denver, but other than that, he's been great filling in. So, if you're looking at other guys, Jamal Crawford intrigues me. I mean, he's been really consistent of late. I don't mind the matchup because he's going to play bigger minutes anyway. He's going to see kind of different guards for Boston, so I don't think a matchup's a real issue because they've been tough against backcourts this season.
Exactly. I wrote about him. He should see 20 points. He's going to get minutes in the high 30s. For a nice value play, I think he's a good option with the shooting guard slate today.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he's in your kind of your ideal price range tonight, and as you mentioned, I mean, the minutes have really been there, and Clippers are going to need some high-scoring guards coming off the bench to keep up because Boston likes to push the pace, so expect this one to be high-scoring as well.
Definitely.
Going any lower, I think it gets a little ugly if you go any past there. Not a big fan of Redick tonight. Fournier going up against a tough matchup, regardless of if Tobias Harris is back or not. You're kind of getting real risky with these guys.
Yeah, I was looking down here last night and today, and none of the guys under 5,000, I should say, really intrigue me. So I'll probably be spending at the shooting guard position unless a crazy injury pops up, which we know with the NBA can happen.
Yeah.
So definitely keep a lookout on that.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm in agreement there. I think spending up a shooting guard, whether it's that mid range or going up to Harden, Thompson, McCollum is just the way to go tonight.
Exactly.
Moving on to small forward, and Tobias Harris is really the only injury concern that's new. Questionable. He didn't go through the shoot around. Not really in play for me anyway, just because he's going to see Kawhi Leonard. So you expect him or whoever's filling in, which is likely Fournier, to just be off because they're going to get Kawhi treatment tonight.
Yeah, these Orlando guys, not a fan of tonight. Maybe Elfrid Payton, but other than that, probably staying away. Maybe a little Vukovic, but not even.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, it's kind of a nice. You saw Aaron Gordon go out and put up a nice game against the Spurs, and it was kind of just a random game against them after no one was expecting it. So Orlando's been playing better of late. I mean, I don't mind him in tournaments if you want to take one shot with a guy.
Yeah, but maybe Aaron Gordon. I was looking at him as well. Glad you mentioned that, but I don't know if it can happen twice.
Yeah. I mean, you rarely don't get the best of Popovich there twice. Looking at other news, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, although he's just shooting guard, he's out tonight, but Stanley Johnson's come in and played bigger minutes. His price has come up on DK. I think he's kind of along the lines of Etwan Moore, where he's a much better value play on FanDuel, but really in a great spot tonight against a bad Denver backcourt.
Yeah, I'll pay 6,000 for him. He's got a great matchup. A lot of people are probably going to fade him. He had 15 fantasy points against Toronto, but Toronto are one of the better defensive teams in the league, and going up against Denver, who is actually the opposite. I can see him hitting 30, 40 fantasy points if he gets hot.
Yeah, because I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, he went for 33 against Indy, went for 46 against New York. So I definitely like that call, and I think as you mentioned, people are going to be off of him on DraftKings tonight because he is at that higher price tag.
Yeah, but I actually like his teammate Marcus Morris quite a lot. He's a little bit cheaper. You can save how much is it? $700 by paying up for him. We saw Ilyasova's doubtful for tonight, so Morris will get a bump of minutes, usage rate, and going up against Denver is a great matchup for him as well.
Yeah, that's another good call. I mean, both are going to see big minutes, and um, I mean, Morris has been, pretty consistent, 36, 27, 26, and 29 DraftKings points in the last 4 games there, in some tougher matchups as well. So this is a good matchup to target Detroit, and I think they're kind of going to be overlooked all over tonight against Denver.
Is this the game he hits 40 fantasy points?
That might be a stretch. I don't know. I mean, if anyone's hitting 40, it's going to be probably Drummond.
Oh, Drummond. That's a guy we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I mean, Sanders is absolutely stacked tonight, so yeah, that's going to be a fun one. But are you paying up for anyone tonight?
LeBron has an ideal matchup. Don't like the total. You could go Paul George at 8,400. I think the price is right. You'll probably have Kid Gilchrist on him, who's a pretty solid defender, but you can't argue for that price tag, especially on a guy like Paul George caliber.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in agreement there. I think Paul George is always kind of in play on a nightly basis, and as you mentioned, the price just continues to drop. Burned me a little bit last game because I was really hoping for a much higher game, but still not a bad game. I mean, 21-9 against the Lakers, but still kind of dropped down in field goal percentage to just 33%. But it's not a bad matchup against Charlotte. I mean, those games have been pretty good for fantasy purposes of late.
Exactly. And speaking of Charlotte, Nicholas Batum looks like an excellent play tonight. Shooting guard on FanDuel, small forward on DraftKings. Great play on either site. He's around the $7,000 range. He's been killing it as of late. He's had, let me pull up his stats here quickly, 52 fantasy points against Chicago, 57 fantasy points against Washington, and 45 against Miami. So he's definitely in play, shooting the ball well. Double-double in his last 2 games. So I think he's a guy to definitely consider in this small forward slate on DraftKings.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you there. I think Batum might be the higher guy I pay up for tonight. I might get some shares of Paul George, but I think like Batum is just kind of at that ideal price tag. Playing shooting guard, it's really not a bad matchup for him at all. Especially these, Indies played a little bit up tempo at home this season, so I definitely like Batum. He's got that big triple double upside.
Exactly, and a tournament play, I think that could work out or could work terribly is Rudy Gay. He's coming off an ankle injury. He saw 27 minutes against Cleveland, which was a tough matchup. But tonight he sees Philly with a 217 over under. I think he's a great tournament play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely in agreement there. I mean, if you look at that game, people are just going to be all over Boogie, Rondo, Ish Smith, Noel, Okafor. No one's really talking about Gay, and especially at that price tag in that matchup. I mean, he's done it before where he's gone off for 40 plus fantasy points in a game where everyone's healthy. So I definitely like that call tonight.
Yeah, you can't argue with Vegas if it's a 217 over under. You know it's going to be fast paced and high scoring.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Go a little bit lower. Kent Bazemore's kind of caught my eye with his recent play, and he's played bigger minutes of late, 32, 33, and 41. Obviously, that Orlando game went in overtime, but 29, 38, and 34 DraftKings points in the last 3 games. A nice matchup against Chicago, who rank in the bottom defensively against small forwards. So Bazemore's kind of a nice value play tonight.
Yeah, I like that call with Bazemore. The lefty has a good matchup. He's been getting minutes, and for 5,400, I see him hitting value.
Yeah. If you're looking any cheaper, like Wesley Johnson, been really consistent, just at 9 and 5, but the defensive stats are always there. I mean, the guy, he's generally always racking up at least 3 steals and blocks per game, so gets a nice matchup against Boston. They struggled against small forwards this season, so I think he's your kind of easy punt option tonight at small forward.
Yeah, especially with Jay Crowder been fighting an ankle injury, coming off a back-to-back. I think Johnson could be a nice value play in the small forward position, as well as Jeff Green,
Oh
who I
yeah,
like a lot.
yeah. Jeff Green's a good call because if you're looking, Zach Randolph's gonna slide over to the center spot, so you're expecting to see a lot of Barnes and Green, and I mean it's always kind of a guessing game to which one goes off, but I do like Jeff Green as the better play there.
If we had to pick between the four, I think Jeff Green was the guy.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Moving over to power forward, obviously DeMarcus Cousins, power forward on DK and center on FanDuel. Um, it's a big price tag, and I guess if you're paying up for Harden or Cousins, who do you like more? Do you like Harden more?
That's an excellent question. I think Cousins is in a great position, but that price tag is a little scary. And I think I can find guys who are cheaper and can come close to the same production he goes. So I guess I go Harden, especially with not a lot of shooting guards I love, and save some money.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely with you there. I think that's my strategy as well. I mean, Cousins, he's power forward, center, so there's a lot of guys in the power forward and center range and great plays in that 8,000, 7,000. You can even go cheaper. So as you mentioned, I mean, the shooting guard's not a great spot tonight, so I do like paying up for Harden there. One guy I like tonight, despite kind of a tougher matchup against power forwards, but I love Paul Millsap. You a big fan of Paul Millsap?
Sorry, I lost you. Almost cap, I definitely like. I think this game's going to be close. He hit 57 fantasy points his last time out. So definitely got to consider for 8 grand play. Very consistent. And
Yeah,
I
I mean,
can't argue with the production.
yeah, if he's kind of bounced back from that ankle injury where he's kind of had a few tough stretches, but 57, 36, and 39 DK points in the last three. You look at what he did against Chicago earlier this season, 18, 8, and 3 with 6 blocks and 2 steals. I love his defensive upside, so I'm a big fan of Millsap tonight. If I'm paying up, I think he's probably as high as I'm going to go.
Yeah, I'm right with you there, Millsap. Great play, 8,000. You could save 3 grand instead of going boogie.
Yeah, yeah, big time. I mean, you can kind of get similar upside at times with Millsap if he's really on this game, but Zach Randolph, he's the guy we've kind of been waiting to talk about. I mean, he's, I think, arguably going to be the highest known player tonight.
Steal the show. Talk about why you love him.
I mean, he's going up against Brooklyn, who's been, average rebounding the ball. They're ranked 17th, and you look at Randolph, just his points and what he's been doing when Gasol sits. It's big time production, and Brooklyn's allowed the 4th most fantasy points to opposing centers this season. So I just think price considered, he's the guy.
Cash and tournament plays, but I don't want to miss out on him.
No, I think tonight's one of those nights where I don't mind taking the chalk here.
Hopefully we don't miss.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of one of those situations, too, where maybe he does have an average game and lets a lot of people down, but everyone's on the same boat, so it's okay.
He needs about 30, 32 points to hit value, so I'll take that chance.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you're looking a little bit cheaper, well, actually kind of in that same range, LaMarcus Aldridge has been playing great basketball of late, finally showing a little bit more consistency, especially scoring the ball wise. 28, 26, 14. Obviously, that 14 was against Dallas in the blowout, but 36 points, 28 real points. So still his price has not come up a bunch. So he's only just 7,100, gets a nice matchup against Orlando. I think he's one of the Spurs guys I don't mind taking a chance on tonight.
Even with Duncan back, are you still taking a chance with him?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, Duncan's going to come back. I don't see Duncan playing a ton of minutes anyway. I mean, I still like Aldridge, but it is a good point on Duncan being back. But, I mean, he's kind of gotten to do a nice little consistent role here. I mean, I'm probably not going to play him in cash games, but GPP, I think he's a decent play with upside.
Yeah, especially if you want a tournament lineup without Randolph or Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go a little bit different, I think Aldridge is your lower owned play there.
Definitely has the matchup, though.
Yeah. Looking a little bit cheaper, Kenneth Faried's been playing really good basketball of late, averaging 15 and 9 over the last 6 games, coming off a big 22 and 13 game. The only thing is he never plays over 30 minutes. That's his only downside, so you got to kind of hope he does it in a shortened span. But I don't mind the matchup against Denver, against Detroit tonight, who are without Ilyasova.
Yeah, I think the Manimal's a great play with Ilyasova out. Tolliver is a good defender, but the way Farid has been playing of late, I don't think you can go wrong with him for 6K.
Yeah. And speaking of Tolliver, he's going to probably eat up a bunch of minutes tonight, but we've seen him fill in for Ilyasova before, and he'll play 30-plus minutes, and he'll produce single-digit fantasy points. So Tolliver is not a guy I want to play tonight. Definitely a risky play. I'd rather be wrong if he goes off for 30 than be right, because I don't want to play him.
Yeah, I'm staying away. That's not my pump play for today,
Yeah.
especially at power forward and this big slate, many options.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at anyone lower there for value?
Under 5 grand. I'm pulling it up now. I could go with a little Bobby Portis. Definitely risky, tournament only. Atlanta has struggled defending the big man all season long. He's been getting minutes in the 20s, so I would take a chance with him. And definitely not Tolliver. So I guess Portis is the only guy that attracts me.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you there. As far as minutes go, I mean, he has been seeing bigger minutes of late, and which is kind of surprising because we've seen Gasol come back and Dunleavy as well, so it's kind of gotten a little more bumped up and guys around there. But I do like him if I'm going cheaper. But I think power forward, it's kind of easy to just play those mid guys and kind of just hope for the best. Hope not a lot of value goes off down below.
Exactly. Mid tier or Cousins, one of the two. No punch for me today.
Yeah, I'm definitely playing up there. Moving over to center, and center is just absolutely stacked tonight. And I mean, back to that Chicago team, and it's really hard to get away from Pau Gasol at that price. I don't care that he's 9,000 on DK. I don't care that he's high price on FanDuel. He's going to get a bump in usage and gets a great matchup.
Yeah, Gasol, excellent matchup. You nailed it. Been playing great as of late. I see him dominating the paint against Al Horford.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you look, he's gone 8 for 13, 8 for 16 in the last 2 games, and I mean, Atlanta ranks 30th in rebounding, so I'm all over Gasol tonight. But I mean, there are other options. I think if he fits, he's a great play, but I don't think there's a need to force him into your lives tonight, just with all the other options.
Oh, definitely. If you want to pay up for Cousins, going cheap at center could be the way to go. A couple other high price guys I'm looking at is where'd he go? Rudy Gobert. I think it's a nice option for 6,800. I love Towns as a cash play. Very consistent guy, 8,300. I don't mind paying for him.
Yeah,
And DeAndre Jordan. I
yeah.
think I'm getting mixed feelings about DeAndre Jordan. What are your thoughts on him?
Really? Well, let me try and persuade you, because I'm a big fan of Jordan tonight. I mean, you look at Boston; they rank 20th in rebounding. Jordan, I mean, three blocks or more in the last 5 games. And you look, I just think he can have another monster rebounding game, because you look at Boston; they push the up tempo, they push the pace. Kind of a jump shooting team that aren't really a great jump shooting team, so should be plenty of rebounds. I think he could pull off one of those big 15 and 20 games tonight.
I'm just scared that Boston plays small today because they tend to do that and it affects DeAndre minutes and production.
Yeah, that's a good call there. I mean, I can understand the worry, but I mean, it is hard to see him playing below 35 minutes tonight. But that could be something. And if you're right, I will tip my hat.
I hope I'm wrong though.
But yeah, I like the Gobert call you had. I like him as that value play at center tonight. Just 6,800 on DK. Been really consistent of late, and he does have that big upside with his blocks, and especially against New Orleans, who has struggled against centers. That's a great call there.
Yeah, I also like Horford a little bit right under him against Chicago. Gasol's not that good of a defender either, so It could be a nice little game to have Horford and Gasol if you can afford them both.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at that price tag, that's a nice call too. I mean, the center matchups on both sides is definitely above average, and let's not forget Horford went for 33 and 10 against Chicago earlier this season. So um, I definitely do like that game a lot.
Definitely a game to target.
Yeah. We've had a problem with Nikola Jokic over the last few games. The minutes have gone back down. After playing 30, 29, and 26, he went down to 19 and 14. I would love the matchup otherwise, but that minutes are just too inconsistent now that this price is up there.
My guess is that he gets the minutes up again. He gets high minutes tonight, like we're used to seeing, but I'm not going to take that risk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think because he's going up against Drummond, he should see some more usage, but Malone in Denver has really kind of ridden the hot hand. We saw Joffrey Laverne come into play for the first time in like 2 months, so it's really, really tough to predict right now. And on a full slate, I just rather not take the risk.
Yeah. No, I actually take that back because I'm looking here at his game log and he only played 14 minutes against Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And we all know they have Brook Lopez. So I
Yeah.
take that back, guys, and I'm staying away from Jokic.
What about what are your feelings about Jahlil Okafor tonight? Nice matchup. Minutes have come back up 30 and 33. Coming off some bigger games, and obviously a matchup against the Kings with this total tonight.
Oh, he's definitely in play tonight, 6,300. I know he's been playing the four, if I'm correct. I'm not sure what they're doing tonight, but I think he's a great play regardless. You can stack him and Noel. I think that's a great play. And I see him hitting around 30, maybe exploding for 50.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely has that upside and definitely has the matchup to do it. One guy who's on my radar below is Andrew Bogut, but coming off a back-to-back, they're always, trying to help him out because he's been injured in the past. But coming off a monster game against Houston, I mean, obviously 6 blocks, 3 assists, or 3 steals, and a double-double. At that price, I mean, is he about as low as you can go? Do you like Bogut tonight?
I don't think he's going to play a lot of minutes tonight coming off a back-to-back like you mentioned, especially against a Suns team that's not very good. So I'll probably be. And if I like anybody below him, I honestly don't. He's going to say the guy you mentioned earlier from the free, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you there. So that's it. That pretty much wraps up center. No one else you're looking at.
No one. I have no pump plays for center today.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of like those guys. You like Gobert. You like Okafor. You like Horford in that 6K range. And there's no reason to really go any lower there.
Yeah. You can go up or you can go there, but I wouldn't go any lower.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you there. That's going to wrap things up here with the minutes to win it. Check out all our great fantasy content at dailyfantasycafe.com.